Yo guys, Lucas here, owner of 3D Street Co, and in today's video we're pretty much just going to go through how to make your own vector mockup from scratch using Adobe Illustrator. If you don't know what a mockup is, it's essentially just a blank template where you can add your own designs digitally and be able to showcase your designs digitally to a manufacturer on your socials, pretty much anything you want, but it also helps you visualize exactly how your designs will look for your next collection. So this is a completed one that I used from this blank mockup here, and as you can see, if I go into the actual mockup itself, the group, I can move every individual part of it. And at the end of the video, I'll also show you a little tip to enhance your mockup a little bit more, which no one really talks about. So let's get into it. Firstly, you just want to make sure your Adobe Illustrator is actually set properly so you can see the properties tab here and the layers. And if you don't see these already, you want to go to window up here and then just select the ones you want. So I usually just have the layers and properties. Those are the two main ones here because that's where you can edit most of the stuff that you're going to be configuring here. First thing you want to do is actually grab a reference garment from anywhere. I just got this one from Pinterest just for an example. You want to drag that in. What you want to do is turn down the opacity of it because we will be tracing this. So I'll just go around there. And then you want to lock this layer. So to do that, you click the actual image and right next to it, the eyeball icon, click that, and that's locking the layer so nothing can be selected there. Next, you want to go to the line tool here and select a stroke color. So usually I go with red. And this here, I'm going to put directly in the middle. This just helps me keep everything symmetrical. I usually make the stroke width around 3 points. I think it's points. I don't know if it's pixels, whatever it is, something like that. And I just try and line it up in the middle. So you want to do the same thing for your garment. And same thing, you want to lock this layer as well. Now, nothing can be selected. Now what you want to do is make the base outline. So select the pen tool up here. I usually just keep it black because that is what an outline should be for this. And I usually make the stroke with 2 points. You can also edit the stroke on this right side here. That's what the best part about this properties panel is you can edit a lot of the stuff. So now you want to go ahead and start tracing one side of your reference image here, just like so. And you want to take your time with this because this is your foundation and it's where everything's going to be sitting inside of. And it's nice to have a nice foundation. Otherwise it will look pretty shitty if I'm honest. I'm going to go ahead and just do this and time lapse it, but take your time. And if you want to add some curves to it, instead of just clicking the pen, you want to just drag and then you can sort of rotate it around. This just makes it look a little smoother for the curved edges here. Okay, now once you've got that side done, you want to duplicate this to the other side. And to do that, you can either just click it, right click, go to copy, and then you can right click again and paste, or Control C and Control V. But the only issue with this is once you paste it, it's not in line with the previous one. So you sort of have to line it up manually, which is okay. It's not hard to do. But what I like to do is hold down Alt on Windows. I'm not sure what it is on Mac. I keep forgetting, but hold Alt until you see this the two little cursor icons there, switching from this to that. And simply just click and drag while holding Shift down so it stays in line. What you want to do is once it's on this side, you right click, go to Transform and Reflect. And make sure it's on vertical, so because if it's on horizontal, it will go upside down. All right, once that's done, you want to zoom in and carefully just pretty much connect it. Now, this was actually pretty good, but sometimes the edges here can be a little wonky, so it could be like a little bit down, for example. So sort of like that, which obviously sometimes that definitely happens to me a lot. This time I was pretty lucky, but what you want to do is you want to grab the direct selection tool up here. You'll be using this a lot for the single points here when you want to edit your garment. And then you want to just select the points and connect them so they look nice and clean like that. Same thing for the bottom if it's not connected, but these look pretty good. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, but so once that is all done, you want to drag over both of them just so they're both selected. Right click and press join. Now this makes it so the entire thing is connected. So this is essentially where everything is going to be inside. This is your base outline. Now the next part is to add the extra details. So the hoodie pockets, the seams, the stitching, and any extra details you have here. Obviously, depending on your garment, it's going to differ. But I'll go through some little tips and tricks on what to do here. That works for pretty much every garment. So essentially what you want to do is, say if it's for this hoodie pocket, you want to make the outline. It's pretty much doing the exact same thing as you did for the base outline, where you just do one side, just like that, and you copy it over, just like that, right click, transform, reflect, bang, and same thing, just drag over them, right click, join. Where's join? There it is. And there it is, it's connected. Next, I will show you how to add some stitching. So I just made a seam line here with just the pen tool, and then I'm going to duplicate it, bring it down a little bit. And as you can see, the sides don't connect here. So I get the direct selection tool and just select the individual anchor point. I think it's an anchor point or just the point. and fix up anything that's overlapping or not connecting, just like this. Now, once that's done, we want to make it look like a stitch because obviously right now it just looks like a line. You select that, go to stroke either in the properties or just up here. You can click it here and then change it to dashed line. Now, I usually make it 3 points because I think it looks the best as a stitch, but I usually change the weight of the stroke to 1 point. So it looks a little nicer. And as you can see, that sort of represents a stitch. So a manufacturer would be able to see that and be like, oh, that's where the stitch is. And obviously you can create different types of stitches, but that is the basic sort of stitch here. Now, so these are grouped together with the seam and the stitch, because obviously when you move it now, they're separate. Highlight both of them, right click, group, just like that. Now, whenever you want to do something where you want to group something together, say if you want to group this entire hoodie pocket together, you drag over it, right click, and group. So then the whole thing is together. Right now, I'm not doing that because I'm not finished with it. So I'm just going to finish up all these details and then get back to you in a sec. All right, and those are all the extra details done. So the main part I want to focus on here is sort of the individual aspects of the garment. So here's the extra details of this hoodie specifically. So obviously if it's a t-shirt, it would be different. But I just added some extra little details, pretty much just tracing exactly what's over here, just to give it a little bit more, I guess, depth or just detail in general, really. Now, once all your details are done and everything is pretty much in place, you can actually turn off this line here because that's just your pretty much just guideline. So another thing I wanted to touch on was this part here. So obviously this looks like a different fabric because it's actually the inner part of the fabric of the hoodie itself, not the hood itself, because they're two separate fabrics. Here, what you want to do, just so you can represent that fact, is what I like to do is go to the pen tool, make sure everything is deselected so there's no colors on the fill or the stroke. And then I like to outline this here, just like that. It doesn't have to be, because it's just an outline, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be a rough outline. Now, once that's done, you can actually just make it, so say whatever the color of the base garment is, say it's a light baby blue, like what's on this reference here. You'd want to go to the fill here. I usually like to make it a darker color than the baby blue that it is, sorry. So say this is the baby blue that the garment will be. I'm gonna make this a little darker just so it looks like the inner fabric of the hoodie. But as you can see, it's obviously over these stroke lines here. So what you wanna do is go to your layers, make sure this is selected so you know where it is, and essentially just drag it down all the paths you made. I like to do it pretty far down, but don't put it below the outline layer here, because otherwise it will, when you color it in, it will be covered. Everything you do has to be above this base outline layer. So there you go. So that's the inner part of that done. And you can even add a tag here now. So your manufacturer or wherever you're posting it can see where the tag is placed and what it looks like. Now we can actually just color in the entire garment by selecting the base layer, changing this to the baby blue I was talking about. But again, you can change it to literally whatever color you want. And that's the best part about it, is it's fully customizable. And there you go. That's pretty much your mockup created. You just made your own mockup. Congrats. Woo. Now you can actually turn off your reference layer. And the next part I'm about to show you is a little bit more complicated, but it's pretty easy to do. And you sort of have to know this if you want to have a good looking mockup. It's clipping masks. So what you want to do is, say if you want to have a design on this part of the arm, right, of the hoodie, but you want it to be just on the edge here so it looks like it wraps around the arm. Obviously, say if we just had a piece of text here, which would represent your design. Obviously, this is just an example. Say if we wanted this text here to wrap around the hoodie, just like that. Obviously, just like this, it looks like you just put a design on top of this. But what you want to do is select your pen tool, make sure no colors are selected for both of these, and essentially just start outlining your mock-up itself where you want it to cut off. So just like so, this is exactly where I want it to cut off. Obviously right now I'm doing a pretty rough job, but that's okay. So then you want to connect it up just like this. Bang. And you want to make sure the part that you want to be shown is the part that you're connecting through. So not doing the other side like that. Now, once that's done, make sure both the path you just made is selected and your design that's under it is selected. You can do that by clicking these here and holding shift. Then you want to right click, make clipping mask. And as you can see, it actually looks like it's a part of the mock-up or the hoodie itself now. And this honestly changes the game for a lot of the things you want to do. But say if you wanted to move the design in it itself, you don't like the placement, you double click the design itself, which takes you into the clipping mask itself, and you move it around how you want it. So obviously, depending on how big you made it, it's going to get cut off right at the edge there. But say if we wanted a little out, Bang. So that's essentially what I did with all these here. So if I show you, if I go into this group here, which again, double click to get into a group, and oh, another group here, double click again. And there you go. So this is a clipping mask itself. So if I went into this clipping mask, you'd see what I mean. This is the entire design, just like that. So obviously I just outlined this part here. And I did the same for the arms as well as this little accent color here with the triangles. So it can really help you achieve a lot. So now for that extra tip I was talking about at the start of the video, and not a lot of people really explain this part, but it adds a lot of depth, and it's actually the shadow here. So if this shadow wasn't on right now, let's say if we just turned off the shadows, you can see how flat it looks. It's not bad. It's good for a manufacturer, for example, but say if you wanted to show it on socials, it's not the best. But adding a little bit of depth helps with that. Even adding some textures, which you can do in Illustrator, but I prefer to do it in Procreate, which I do have some Procreate assets as well, just with some fabrics. Essentially, adding some shadows is honestly, to me, the bare minimum when making a mockup. And I've only started doing this more recently, but I found it just makes it look so much nicer. So to do that, you want to find where you want to add some shadows. So let's say we wanted to add some shadow here, right, to show there's depth to the hood. What you want to do is go to the brush tool right here. Make sure the stroke is black. Pretty much just draw exactly where you want the shadow to be. So obviously that doesn't look like a shadow, but the magic happens when you select it, go to Effect and go to Blur, Gaussian Blur. Now you can make this as blurry as you want, depending on how you want it to look. So that's not too bad. As you can see, it gets cut off the more blurry it gets. So once that's done, obviously that looks pretty stupid. You want to do a clipping mask again. So pen tool, make sure no colors are selected, and outline exactly where you want the shadow to show. So just like this. I won't edit this part so you can see exactly how I'm doing this, because this can be a bit confusing sometimes. I like to turn down the opacity a bit so it's not as harsh. Still looks like a shadow, just not as harsh. And there you go. So it adds a little bit of depth. Obviously, I think it still could be improved a little bit, but that's not too bad. But that's not too bad for an example. And again, you can do the same thing for this side. I'll quickly just do an example again, but I'll do it quicker and just speed through it real quick. All right, and there you go. So I added a shadow here as well, which honestly, as you can see the before and after, you can see it just adds a bit of depth. You know, it makes it extrude a little bit. Obviously, I think it could be a little bit less harsh and probably improved a little better, but that's not too bad. Another thing I didn't touch on yet was actually editing the mockup itself. So really, it just uses the direct selection tool again. So you'd want to drag and select the points that you want to edit and make sure that they're all selected. Otherwise, it'd look a little weird. And simply drag to change how you want it to look. But say if you wanted to shrink it a little bit, just like that, that's actually not too bad. But say if it went up a little too high, just like this, you might see some overlapping, and obviously that just doesn't look right. So what you can do is just fix up this anchor point specifically with the direct selection tool. And right now, because I turned this like that, it definitely works. What I like to do is if you hold down Alt and then start moving this little point here, it only moves that point. So you can fix up anything that doesn't look right. And there you go. You just made that a little shorter. Obviously, it looks a bit weird. It's a quick example, but that's essentially how you edit your mockup. Now, another thing, say if this looks a little too sharp for you here. So what you want to do is select the direct selection tool, click either point you want to make a little bit more rounded, and you can actually just select these little dots and round it off. So you can do that for pretty much any part of this, this hoodie. So even here, just like that. Any path that has a sharp edge, you can do it on. Makes it look a little less like just a design and more like an actual garment itself. But that's essentially it. Again, I've been doing this for 4 years. It took me around 40 minutes. So if this sounds a little too hard for you, I have made an entire pack with pretty much everything included: hoodies, outerwear, pants, sweaters, literally anything, shirts, whatever you need, including some extra accessories like hoodie pockets. So that is something I actually do provide. It's in the link below, or 3dstreetcode.com. I've used those exact mockups to make things like these. So you can see how I've added the shadows here. I've added the clipping marks on these designs. Even made something with Hellstar, not with them, but just the design. Can pretty much do anything. But yeah, if you have any questions with anything, please do let me know down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Happy designing.